I've learned one thing in all my travels. Not being able to speak the language can be a big problem. You can't talk to the locals, you can't become part of the culture, and you won't be accepted into the local community. So what you end up doing is hanging out with other English speakers from your home country or from other English speaking countries. But what if you can be part of the new country and not learn a new language? So I put together the top 5 countries where English is pretty much all you need, and they have retirement visas so you can stay there long term. But first, I want to show you a list of some other countries where English is widely spoken in case you want to explore those. But most of them don't have retirement visas, so they're not ideal for long term, and they might have other issues such as high costs. So let's look at those real quick. So first, Barbados, official language is English. There's no dedicated retiree visa. The closest thing is they have this welcome stamp, which you need to make about $50,000 a year in income. So that's probably more remote worker than retirees, but it is possible. So the next is Fiji. They actually do have a retirement pathway. And it's also a pretty cheap option in this group. So under $1,000 a month covers a comfortable life. But healthcare is probably not the strongest. Next, Estonia. They have strong English, moderate to pricier, roughly $3,000 plus a month. They have modern hospitals. It's very English friendly. Lithuania is the next one. This is very affordable in the Baltic states. They have universal coverage. And the last is, of course, like UK, Ireland, Australia, Canada, New Zealand. And most of us are trying to escape the cost of living, but I wanted to put these on the list. So here's 4 more on the list. Bahamas, it's pretty expensive. You need a big investment to even go there. And healthcare is good, but you probably would go to Miami for anything complex. So Jamaica does have a possible residency option. It's affordable. Healthcare is decent, but very limited. I haven't heard great things about Jamaica being safe. English is pretty widely spoken in India. It's very affordable. Healthcare, actually, the healthcare surprised me as well. They do have some really good hospitals in India. And that, of course, depends on the region you're at and all that, because India is a very big place. And then the last one is Kenya, if you have any interest in that as well. So they do have an option for visa. It's affordable, and healthcare is strong in Nairobi, but pretty weak elsewhere. So I'm just sharing these countries with you. I don't know a lot about them because they've really never been on my list. So these countries right here are just some other options that are kind of outside of the norm. If you have experience with these countries, put it in the comments below. I'd love to read about these more. So now let's get into the top 5. So in all these countries, English is widely spoken and they have a retirement pathway that is pretty simple. Okay, number 1 on the list, the Philippines. So most of us know that the Philippines is an archipelago of over 7,000 islands in Southeast Asia, with a population of about 115 million people. So one of the main expat hubs are Cebu and Manila, and some other places, but it's very popular with expats. The Philippines is probably the easiest one on the list. English is widely spoken, and the retirement visa is pretty easy to get. The visa is the SRRV, the Special Resident Retiree Visa. And if you're 50 years old, you need a $15,000 deposit with $800 a month pension. And the visa is very simple to keep. Cost of living outside of Manila runs, $1,000 to $1,500 a month. Healthcare is pretty solid in the cities. It's, of course, weaker if you go outside of the major cities. On safety, Philippines seems to be pretty safe. There's parts of the country where you do not want to travel, but basically in the kind of the retiree expat areas, Manila, Cebu, the places are pretty safe and you can find safe places to live. But I don't hear a lot about safety issues in the Philippines. I'm curious what you think about the safety in the Philippines. The next one on the list, Belize. So if you're enjoying this comment, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And I put some resources in the description below, so if you want to check those out, you can. Belize sits on the Caribbean coast of Central America, bordered by Mexico and Guatemala, with a population of about 425,000 people. This is one of the smaller countries on the list. There are some expat clusters throughout the country. And in Belize, English is the official language. They do have a visa called the Qualified Retired Persons Program. You need about $2,000 a month. There's no giant deposit, property purchase, and it renews annually without a bunch of hassle. On cost, it shows that you can live for $1,000 a month, but I have heard that it's much more expensive to live in Belize, so that's something that you would want to check out. It's kind of the same pattern as the Philippines. There's areas that are safe and there's areas that you probably want to avoid. But if you're looking for an English-speaking country that is close to home, this may be it. All right, next on the list, Latvia. So Latvia is a Baltic nation in Northern Europe. It's bordered by Estonia, Lithuania, and Russia, with a population of approximately 1.8 million people. Most expats settle in the capital, Riga. English is widely spoken, especially by the younger people. And they do have a visa, and the latest I saw is you need about 1,100 euros to qualify for the visa. But that number, I saw different numbers, so I'm not exactly sure what the number is. So whatever the exact figure, you need to be 65 years or older. The cost of living is really good here. You could definitely do it on Social Security. All right, moving on, Malta. Malta is a tiny Mediterranean island nation, south of Sicily, with a population of about 530,000. My understanding is you can drive across the whole country in an hour. English is co-official here, and that's a holdover from the British rule. The visa is a Malta retirement program, and it says, like, I have not been here, but looking at what I could find, it says that your pension needs to make up at least 75% of your income. And there's a minimum tax of 7,500 euros per year. And I couldn't find anything different than that. If you actually know if that is true, let me know. But that seems extreme to me. Like, you would have to have a very, very high pension. So this is on the list, but it seems if that's the case, then this would be a pretty expensive place to live. But it does look like a pretty cool place to live. All right, moving on to the next one, Malaysia. Malaysia is in Southeast Asia with a population of around 34 million people. The main expat retiree hubs are Kuala Lumpur, Penang, and a few other places. English is very strong here, especially in the big cities. And their healthcare is absolutely excellent. The cost of living day to day are very low, so it's a very affordable place. But here's the one catch. So their retirement visa is called a Second Home Program, MM2H, and it got overhauled in 2024. So it used to be very accessible for retirees, but now the qualifications, the spend that you have to make is extremely high. So now the tiers go from 150,000 all the way up to $1 million in fixed deposits, and some tiers require you to buy a property. So this is no longer a budget place, but if you want to live in a very modern country that has excellent health care and you had that type of money to invest, Malaysia could be an option for you if you wanted the retirement visa. So the Philippines and Belize give you easy pathways. Belize is very close to the United States. Philippines is just an easy pathway as well with a low cost of living. If you wanted to explore a different part, Latvia is very safe. Malta may have these issues of taxes, but you would need to check those out, of course. But if you wanted a Mediterranean island where they speak English, that's a great option. And Malaysia is a very good option. Excellent healthcare, modern cities, English widely spoken. But the issue of the high threshold for a retirement visa could be a problem for most people. So I'm curious what you think of this list, especially if you visited or lived in these places. Put it in the comments below. And if you enjoy this content, hit that subscribe button. All right, see you soon.